my groovy ghouls. It's spooky month, and today we're going to talk about Mexico's first horror film. If you grew up in the Latin culture, you can probably guess which legend was used for the first Mexican horror film. The first La Llorona movie was made in 1933, directed by Ramon Peon. It was the first horror film of Mexico cinema. If you haven't heard the legend of La Llorona, here's my version that I grew up with. A woman fell in love with a man who she wanted to marry. He told her, "I will marry you if you get rid of your kids." So she drowns her kids in the river and she returns to the man who kills her. Her ghost wanders in the streets crying out for her children, and if she spots you, she will drown you in the river thinking you're one of her children. Depending who you hear the legend from, it's going to be a little different, but the ending is essentially the same. La Llorona has been in many movies, old and new. Each of them retell them differently. Now back to the 1933 film. Film begins with Juanito's birthday. His grandpa, Fernando, is worried about him because Fernando's older brother was kidnapped and killed when he was 4 years old, and he fears there's a curse in the family. Fernando tries to prove his case to Juanito's father, Ricardo, by presenting two books that contain the history of the family. This creates a flashback to 16th century Mexico. Most of the film takes place in this flashback, showing how a nobleman is getting married and his lover interrupts the wedding, presenting him with a 4-year-old son that was born out of wedlock. His lover is escorted out of the church. As soon as the wedding is done, the nobleman rushes to claim his son, but the mother kills the child and kills herself out of revenge, since the nobleman had promised to marry her. In the film, you see her ghost emerge from her body and fly out, crying out for her son. The movie comes back to Fernando and Ricardo. Ricardo brushes off Fernando's concern, letting him know that the past doesn't come back. But as the night moves on, Ricardo gets concerned about Juanito and brings him into his bedroom with his wife to keep an eye on him. But the night's silence is broken by a wailing in Fernando's death cry. Ricardo runs to Fernando's study and finds him dead. Orders one of the employees to fetch the police. Ana Maria, Juanito's mom, stays in the bedroom, keeping Juanito safe, but an intruder breaks into the house, overpowers Ana Maria, and kidnaps Juanito. Ricardo follows the kidnapper through a hidden passage behind a wall and is able to rescue his son from the kidnapper, but the kidnapper escapes. Ricardo meets up with the police and they explain they found a book that the kidnapper was trying to steal along with Juanito. From the book, we cut to another flashback before the nobleman's time, where a native woman's son is taken away from her and she loses her sanity, killing herself, setting out a curse on the family to take the life of the firstborn son. You see her spirit rise from her body, wailing out for her son, as her servant promises to carry out the curse. Come back from this flashback, Juanito gets kidnapped again by the masked intruder. They chase the intruder down to an altar, but the butler is able to stop the intruder and save Juanito. This film is 88 years old, and it's doing a much better job storytelling than any other Llorona movie that I've seen lately. This film kicked off horror cinema in Mexico. 21 horror movies were produced and released in Mexico around 1933, including The Two Monks and The Ghost in the Convent. I really especially enjoyed that Juanito gets kidnapped twice. The film was recently restored around 2019, and it was played at many film festivals. The film is available on YouTube for free with English subtitles. I will leave the link in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like. If you want to go a step further, hit subscribe, and until death do us part.